Hello, my name is Hannah Tosi, and I am an intensive therapy retreat therapist. And I would like to tell you today about intensives and why they're so wonderful and how they differ from hourly therapy, which many of us may be more familiar with. So, one of the things that I love about intensives is that I find that they're gentler on my clients' nervous systems. And you might be kind of surprised to hear that, given that the word intensive is in the name of the format. But with an intensive, we have more time. And so having more time together means that there's less rush. And that means that there's less urgency and more time to get to the heart of why you're in therapy, to the true root causes of your challenges. And once we get there to those root causes, there's much more time to attend to that, to unpack what's going on for you, to work through it, integrate it, and heal. The spaciousness for memory reprocessing is really one of the profound aspects of an intensive that I think really sets it apart from hourly therapy. So with methods like EMDR or parts work or somatic psychotherapy, if you're in an hour format, maybe you have 15 minutes to talk about what's been bothering you lately, what do you want to focus in on today, and then maybe you'll spend some time linking that to the root issues, maybe past traumas or memories that are kind of feeding in or worsening your current concerns. And then once you've honed in on that, maybe you have like 25 minutes, 30 minutes if you're lucky to work through those root cause issues with memory reprocessing or integrating methods. And that's often not enough for complex trauma, for challenging memories. And you might just start kind of scraping at the surface with that amount of time. And I have observed that it can really hurt folks and kind of be challenging with trust. For clients might bring something up and feel safe and trusting enough to open it up with me, and then when we only have 20 minutes or so to work on it, it might feel kind of invalidating to then, because of the time constraints, have to close it down and wind it up. And I think many of you who've done hourly therapy who are watching this video might relate to that. And it takes time as well to pack things back up, to contain them, to get your nervous system back to baseline if you have taken things out of the archives that you might have packed away for good reason. So one of the things that I love about the intensive format is that there is much more time to tend to these deeper issues, to work on them, and give them the attention that they really deserve. When it comes to processing trauma, if you're using a memory reprocessing modality, a memory is going to take however much time it takes. So say there's a memory that takes 2 hours to work on. In an hourly format, that will be 2 weeks of therapy. Maybe 3 if you include that hello and goodbye time, or even 4. So it might take a month to work on this 2-hour memory. In a intensive therapy format, you would work on that in 2 hours, or maybe 2.5 hours if you include the kind of hello, the setup time and the wind down time. So that same memory could be completed in one morning together or one afternoon together. And for some folks, they might prefer that slower pace with the hourly format. There's more time in between to integrate things, more kind of bite-sized chunks. But for other folks, they might feel like, I'm ready to heal. I want to move through this stuff. I want to really get my life back or discover myself for the first time beyond this trauma that I've been carrying around for so long. And so you can heal more quickly with the intensive therapy retreat format and feel better more quickly. And it might not be a cure-all depending on the complexity of your trauma. It may be more of a chunk of your work that we end up doing, but it ends up being a really big catalyst for your healing process. And for folks who are paying out of pocket for their hourly therapy, then you end up actually having a much more cost-effective experience, because you're not paying for as much of that hello and goodbye time. Another thing that I really think is one of the most special aspects of the intensive therapy retreat is the retreat aspect of it. So you're really carving out some time in your life to work on yourself, to heal, and it's not just another thing on your to-do list. I know, for many folks with the hourly format, they try to squeeze it in before work or on their lunch break or at the end of the day, trying to fit it in around childcare or other responsibilities, and oftentimes there's not a lot of time to really think about what you want to focus in on, or you might be aware that I have to kind of have things kind of wrapped up really well by the end of this session, because I got to jump right into a work meeting or other responsibilities. And so your headspace isn't really fully there to get into a more healing space. And so the retreat, you have a whole morning devoted to healing yourself, or a whole week if you choose to do a week long. And it's time to step out of that rhythm and that routine. It's really a retreat. And one thing to clarify is that it's not a retreat facility. So I have a private practice office that's located nearby hotels and Airbnbs, and there's lots of cute cafes and walking paths nearby, but you take care of all of that aspect of the retreat, and that's lovely because you can personalize it based off of what you want. And it would just be you and I working one-on-one in my office for the hours that we're spending together. So that may include incorporating some movement. I'm a trauma-informed yoga teacher on top of being a therapist, and so many of my clients like to bring in a few minutes of yoga to start the session, or to wrap up the time, or to help them stay regulated throughout our work together. And if we were working together in the hourly format, you may, not want to devote 10 or 15 minutes of your hour to that. But I find that with the whole day long, people generally have more willingness to make space for bringing their body into the experience, or bringing their spirit in. So it can really be more of a holistic approach. The time in an intensive therapy retreat is set up in a structured way. So that's something to keep in mind, that it's not like, in an hourly therapy session. It's not the case in all hourly therapy. Sometimes there is very structured approaches, but it's kind of a free association type process often, where you come in, your therapist might ask you, what do you want to focus in on today? And kind of shape the process based off whatever you bring in. Well, we will spend the first morning together, or the first half day, focusing in on what are your issues, and what is your history, and based off that conversation, I will create a plan for you on how we'll spend the remainder of our time together, and how the tools that I have can help you get towards your goals. So that plan allows you to kind of make the most of your time. And so you're not going to come in and end up spending the whole time, talking about surface level things without getting to the root cause. And I think that this is really comforting for many people who are concerned about the retreat intensive format being overwhelming or kind of daunting. Some people might think, oh boy, a whole week of therapy, that sounds like a lot. I don't know if I can handle that, but we'll have a plan, so you can kind of sit back and let me steer the ship. We'll steer it together, and there's always room to adapt the plan as needed as we go. But we'll also be conscientious of how you're feeling throughout the time, aware of your nervous system, your level of engagement, and trauma was overwhelming. And we don't want the retreat experience to be like that. In fact, we want it to be the opposite of that, feel like an antidote and feel manageable, like you can handle it and like it's effective. And so I'll be keeping an eye out for your level of feeling regulated, of feeling at ease in your body, of feeling connected with me and safe in this space. And there's always things that we can do to help you feel more at ease and make sure that the process is just the right amount and not too much. So if this sounds interesting to you, if it's something that you're considering for yourself, I'd be really happy to chat with you about it more. Feel free to reach out. We can set up a phone call or a video chat and talk about your individual circumstances, and I can tell you a bit more about the retreat, answer any more questions that you might have, and we can see if it will feel like a good fit for you at this time. Thank you, and be in touch.